Good morning, good morning. It's Ona, your energy customer service rep from Chicago, and this is a special for the spring equinox 2022. If you're new, welcome. This is going to be a weird fun day for you. If you've been hanging around the channel, you know that on the equinox and the solstice, I do an ovomancy to see what is coming up in the season ahead. This is basically scrying the albumin of an egg. It's a real thing, it's a lot of fun, and starting to get more involved in it as people become interested. So if you follow the channel the past few days, I got some eggs. I had you pick from the dozen which ones you want, or the one that you wanted me to use for the ovomancy, and then I was going to balance it and crack it into a glass of water. The water I'm using, okay, is from Schiller Woods pump. And from what I can tell, I actually have a side-by-side experiment with tap water and this well water. It comes from an aquifer below the ground. Like 85 people line up and spray themselves with it and stuff. And honestly, I gotta tell you, I was pretty much the only one there. There was a lady who was leaving, and I said, do you drink this? And she said, yeah, every day. And I said, well, you look good, because I was hesitant and I could smell the sulfur. Although I gotta say that it cleared up, which is really weird. And I'm pumping just 2 gallons of this, and I'm saying prayer over it because I'm going to use it for ceremony. So I'm, and I hear stuff in the background. I mean, I know there's cars driving by and stuff like that, and I'm saying the prayers, and I put the cap on and I look around, there's like a line of people behind me, and I was like, oh, okay. So I walked away saying thank you for being patient, and I blessed it for you guys, so you're all good. And they got a chuckle out of it, and I pretty much ran out of there thinking, wow. So I got caught praying over the pump, which is not a bad thing. Just maybe I won't be so loud next time. So that's the water I'm using, and it's actually takes longer to evaporate than regular tap water, and it doesn't leave a ring, a heavy sediment ring, like a lime ring, like tap water does. It doesn't bubble until like it's exposed to air for at least 24 hours. So I had these 2 glasses. The tap water's all got these all perfectly uniform bubbles. Okay, so we know that there's detergent in our tap water already, and that's the evidence of it. These perfect bubbles all lined up together, the same exact size in your tap water, is detergent. And the other water, the well water, ran like glass. And then the next day, maybe not like 24 hours later, but the next day, 12 maybe, had these little bubbles that started to come up from the bottom. I'm like, wow. So it's denser, and it definitely doesn't have as many detergents in it. They are the same kind of size bubbles and stuff, but it's different. So I use it in the plants. I actually spilled some and cleaned my floor with it. Dogs got some, and I made a pot of coffee with it. So far, so good. So let's take a look. It's 10:31. I wanted to balance an egg on my hand at equinox, and I started to feel kind of weird earlier, so I experimented with another egg that was in the dozen to see if it would work, and it seemed like it was going to. It's 10:31. We've got 2 minutes to equinox. This was a runner-up, and I got to tell you, whoever picked it is pretty funny, because it actually still has an ass feather on it, and I think it's very, very special. The dogs are losing their shit because of these eggs. They get them when they're done, all right? So I put the egg water over the chart of the Equinox, and that the egg I put out last night, about 14 hours ago. The water is room temperature for over a day, so maybe about 26, 28 hours. It did take a long time to reach sort of room temperature, so should be okay. The glass is clean, 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 clean. A couple granules of salt. Let's see what's going to happen. It is time for Equinox. I never did this before. I'm actually standing like a stork right now. Okay, let's stand still. Yeah. It's not moving in my hand. So, you guys, like, here's your chance. Give it like the best freaking spring messages you can right now. Okay? I have another spring thing for us to do too. My heart is racing because I'm doing this on one take. So I didn't even bring a lot of stuff with me. Brought my special glasses. I don't need my magnifying glasses. Check it out. This is different than the energy I felt earlier when I was a little unbalanced with that other egg that has the ass feather on it. It's standing up, straight up and down. Interesting. So I have to say, and if we could pull that energy in, that would be great, because he gardened by the moon, okay? My my grandpa, used to get water from this well, and I've gone there with him when I was a little thing, and oh, that's the pear tree. Duh. Make wine with it, okay? Homemade wine, basement wine, okay? Where I remember there was a 2x4 keeping from the barrel to the ceiling so that it wouldn't explode. That was what I heard. And his wine always had this like organism floating in it, right? In the big gallon green jug thing. It was not filtered. Literally like plasma floating in it. And this is where I got the water from. It's changing right now. It's changing right now. And it's not far from me. So I'm like, why haven't I tapped into this resource? And it's occurred to me, and I guess through this whole Pisces season, I got like hit with a lightning bolt. Oh yeah, you know what? I want this Equinox thing to go as pure without as much junk as possible, because of so many things that are happening in the environment. This isn't tipping over yet, but I do feel like I want to let's see if it'll tip over soon. I feel like I want to crack it already. Water from the well, eggs right out of the chicken ass. I just want to see what is the earth telling us from deep inside that hasn't been masked by production and pesticides and fluorite and all that other stuff. What are we working with? It's tipping. It's 10:37. It's about 5 minutes I've been holding this. It's moving a little bit. let's crack it while it's, I want to see it tip over, but I think while that's happening and it in the water like that, that would be really neat. So I do have to say, as I look into this water right now, there are some bubbles on the bottom, small ones. They may or may not interfere with the reading. I don't know. But it is starting to move over to one side. And I do believe that if I just stay still and not, you know, try and make my way around the equator, it's tipping. It's actually tipping towards the northeast. Okay, so geographically it would be tipping toward New York. I'm in Chicago, so the Midwest, and it's the egg is tipping toward New York, which I believe is having, you know, they're an hour ahead. So like if I were to drive this egg straight that way, I'd be in New York in a few months. That's where it's tipping to. Okay, so I'm going to say, you know what? Let's crack an egg. Okay, I have to put aside my little pan here to collect the shells. But what I used to do many a moon ago was write an intention on the shell of an egg and put it into a body of water like Michigan. I used to live right by there, so I would do that. Now that I do ovomancy, we're going to take the shells, and I think I want to dry them and use them for black salt to make my potions and stuff. So here we go. If it's a shell's problem, it's purely me. I don't want to. Okay. You know what scares me? It's beautiful. Whoever said robin egg, that is exactly how I feel right now. It's like a robin's egg. I'm going to dry that and peel it and use that for my other things. All right, so the bubbles that were on the bottom caught and draped the albumin. Okay, so right now that's what I'm looking at, is a lot of it rising up to the surface because the egg attacked the water. Okay, so let's see what else we can. See in this. So clean, I gotta say. If there's anything attached that looks interesting, there's just a really neat a lot of mountains, a lot of things to climb. Okay, so there's a lot of peaks, and there isn't really, and if these are all like little, you know, you can look at, there's different references to what the bubbles mean in the egg, and some say spirit, some say attachments, but the water itself had these bubbles in it on the bottom. And it could be either one. Some of them escaped and some of them didn't, and they're dragging the albumin up. And some of the bubbles are escaping and trapped up there. I'm going to turn it around this way. Let me move the camera down. And I don't think closer is going to really help you guys, but you'll see what I'm sort of trying to attempt to do here. Ooh, sorry about the flashlight. Is sort of look into what's going on here. So the only thing that is super, super dominant, and I really love this depiction, I'm gonna draw it and send it, I'm gonna do something about this, is that glyph of Aries. Okay, number one. Wow. I don't know if you'll be able to see what I see or get this, but the glyph of Aries, I sort of slam them together at one point, is like this, right? Okay, so you've got like this going on, the glyph, but the bottom of it is nerve cell with dendrites, okay? So the roots of the Aries symbol, okay, the bottom of it branches off into nerve cells. Aries, ruled by Mars, nerves. There's going to be, okay, there are some, you know, and we know that this is already happening, but at the end of your nerves, at the end of your rope, there's definitely a little bit of angst that's hanging in there in terms of nervous system stuff. So let's say if you have, I have neuropathy, so I'm sure that's going to be challenged, and there are some long-term COVID patients that are having a lot of neurological issues right now. So I think we're going to have some kind of, wouldn't that be awesome if I could sit here and say we're going to have like this neurological breakthrough? Because maybe there might be some breakthrough in neuroscience. I'm going to stick with that, actually. All right, in the spring. Let's see if there's a breakthrough. You see how I break this down? I'm seeing the colors green and red, like Christmas, okay? I'm seeing the colors green and red in my head. I could smell the red. There's definitely some cinnamon involved in there, is some Venus. But this could be a breakthrough in a neuroscience discipline. I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so. And that's something that would be in an to artificially assist, but something that is really, how interesting. And the dendrites of a nerve ending is like the roots of a tree. Basically, they look exactly the same, right? How cool is that? So let me see if I can clip a picture of this. Oh yeah, yeah, we got it. So it's welcoming Aries season, okay? That is truly the most significant detailed thing that I see. And if I see anything else, I'm hearing, look at where Aries is in your own, and if you can find stuff online, okay? I'm going to move this up a little bit so you're not, so my torso isn't staring at you. What's happening in your Aries area, okay? What, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So if you can, and you can, so it's free, process that. Process what's in your Aries house and where Aries is in your chart if you can. Mine is, I have an Aries moon. I'll tell you what, and y'all know it too, right? So interesting. I'm super interested in this season. Just undeniable. And you see, let's take this, you know, I mean, let's take this a step and see, you know, these little bubbles that formed in the water that are under the egg, basically trapped under the egg, and then drew it up, are and form the glyph of Aries with, you know, we know that this is a connection to a time when everything's coming out of the ground and stuff like that. But it's more like, and you know, talking about detergents and things like that, it's more like protecting the ground, protecting the earth. Okay, I talked about that this morning, the protection of the earth, and that's what I feel very strongly, that the stuff that we're dumping into it is unedible, right? If we can't, you know, I mean, we can't drink the water out of a tap because of the detergents and stuff like that. I mean, we have to filter everything. I filter everything anyway, so I went like, yeah. We have to take care of what's happening at the end of the dendrites. Okay, so protecting the earth like that. I really like that idea. It's very interesting. All right, now it's just giving it a big old hug at the yolk. I can't even tell you why the dogs are quiet right now. Maybe it's just my soothing voice, but when these eggs came out, they were going nuts. I am going to see if anything else comes up. I lit a bunch of incense. There's a lot of that going on, and did a prayer. So if something else comes up, I will let you know. But it looks like that's really it. That's just the end of it. Okay. So if you never knew what the glyph of Aries was, you do now, and you're gonna pick up on that energy. Happy spring. I gotta say, I'm not a favor of my neighbors, but I don't care, okay? So, trust me, they're not happy with me, okay? So I have to say, to welcome the spring equinox, I'll try to be quiet the rest of the day. Most of my windows are closed, but not really, okay? I'm gonna bang on the drum for the rest of the morning. Happy spring until the dog barks, okay? Happy spring, you guys. Happy spring.